recording button. Okay, perfect. So I see some more people join after. So Camila, Carla, I know you girls, Camila, Carla, good evening, welcome back, girls. And also Raquel. So Camila and Carla, girls, if you could switch on your cameras on today's lesson, which is the very first one, right? We are requiring everybody to keep the cameras on, all right? So continue with this presentation, okay, about what does Cambridge really assess? One of the first things that Cambridge assess is language accuracy, right? So it means how well or how accurate do you use the language. And this does not apply only for the speaking part, but of course it's going to apply for the different parts of the exam, as we mentioned from the very beginning. Another thing that is going to be assessed is the range of vocabulary and grammar. Now, guys, this part, probably as the other ones, is going to be very important. Why? Because it happens a lot of times that students can understand English, but what happens is that when they speak, right, they use a more basic vocabulary. So what Cambridge is expecting you to do, of course, is for you to use a range of vocabulary and grammar proper of the B2 level, right? And this, once again, is very important for us to remember. And as we move forward through the course, you, of course, are going to increase your vocabulary. You're going to put your grammar into practice. And, of course, that is going to help us all to make progress, all right? Now, the third thing, okay, which we have is organization and coherence. Now, what is organization and coherence? Of course, is how well we organize the ideas when we speak, when we write, right? And also how well do we use these ideas. Then we have task achievement, and task achievement, of course, is going to be, for example, on the writing part of the exam, that we write exactly about the task that we are giving and not about something else, right? And finally, in between the 5 most important things that Cambridge assess, we have the communication effectiveness. Okay, I think this one is quite clear. How well do we communicate our ideas, and also how well do we interact with other people? Because as you know, maybe some of you know, that the speaking part also includes a collaborative task, right? And this collaborative task, of course, requires 2 persons to interact together, all right? Okay. Sorry, guys, at the beginning of today's lesson, I'm going to be just giving this quick presentation. So I'm just talking a little bit more than usual, okay? Just to make this information clear for everybody. And once again, guys, please let me remind you to keep the cameras on, okay? Especially for the first lesson. I always ask the students on the first lesson to have the cameras on, so I get to know you, right? And see the faces who I'm talking to. So please, Camila, Carla, and Mar, okay? Girls, please switch on your cameras as well, okay? And well, continue with this brief presentation about Cambridge exams. We need to understand that Cambridge is a skill-based exam, okay? So as I mentioned at the beginning of the lesson, it's not just about knowing English, okay? It's about knowing also what is the format, what is the structure, and how do we need to use the language for certain criteria or for certain task. So when it comes to reading, right, reading is going to be mainly about strategies and timing. Okay, this is very important, especially timing, because it has happened before to different students, right, that you practice reading at home. Maybe you like reading books, but when it comes the day of the exam, they realize that they didn't have enough time to finish the exercises. Why? Because they did never practice with the correct strategies, and they never time themselves to know exactly that you have certain period of time to do the task or to do the exercise, okay? Use of English is about precision and control. Use of English is one of the new tasks that is added on the B2. For those who have sat the B1 preliminary, you know that you didn't have the use of English, right? Why? Because the use of English is about the deep knowledge of the grammar, okay? I know that grammar is something that most of people do not like, and I include myself in this group, okay? But it is necessary when you want to reach a higher level for any type of language, whether it's for English or if you have studied another language, you know that precision and control is actually something necessary to increase your level of English. Okay, so this is use of English about. Then we have the writing. The writing is about structure and task focus. There are going to be 5 different types of writing that we are actually going to get to practice during the course, okay? And there is certain structure that Cambridge actually requires you to focus on and wants you to do it in a certain way. And this is why it's important, okay, that we follow the steps so we can actually have accurate writings according to what what Cambridge is expecting you to do and to write about. Then we have the speaking part, of course, that is about clear communication, not perfection. And guys, this is a very important point, okay? When we say that speaking is about clear communication and not perfection, okay, because a lot of times students confuse, they think that they need to have a perfect pronunciation. Well, pronunciation is important, but they need to have a perfect vocabulary, a perfect use of grammar in order to communicate for this exam. Well, it is important, of course, but it's not going to be the last goal. The most important goal, okay, that we have for a language is actually communication. So if you can communicate your ideas clearly and you can be understood by the other person, that is going to be very important. And one last thing, guys, here that I would like to add for the speaking part is about it's about the accent, okay? I know that maybe some of you have studied at American English. Can you guys tell me who have studied American English here before? You can just raise your hand. Everybody just studied British English? Nobody studied American English? Okay, Leslie. Okay, very good. Okay, Rodrigo, everybody, I think, Carla. Okay. Most of you guys have studied American English, okay? And it's good that we know from the beginning who have studied American English. Why? Cambridge is British exam, right? But the exam does not assess the accent, okay? So if you guys have studied American English, it's not going to be an issue for you to study or to prepare for the Cambridge exam. Why? Because for the speaking part and for the listening part, what you're going to be focusing on is not the accent of the person, okay? Why? Because Cambridge is aimed at real life communication. And what happens in real life is that we are going to be working with people from all around the world, right? So, which means that you're going to be maybe talking to in English, right? To a person from India, to a person from Mexico, to a person from Canada, from different parts of the world. And each person is going to have a different accent. We, as Peruvians, also going to have a different accent, okay? So guys, it's important to understand what is the difference between accent and between pronunciation, okay? Pronunciation is important, but accent is going to vary from country to country, from city to city, and from person to person as well, all right? So do not get scared, because this is a question that I got before from one of my students. What happened if I had studied American English? Well, nothing is going to happen. Why? And we go to the last part of the exam, which is the listening. On the listening part, the audios are going to be from people from different parts of the world, okay? Which means that you can easily listen to a conversation, for example, on part number 3, when there is a person from, I don't know, from Mexico, all right, giving a speech or having a conversation in English, okay? So what is important once again is the pronunciation and not the accent, because Cambridge itself give you audios with accents from different parts of the world. All right, so that is important. And well, about the listening, it's about understanding the meaning, not every word. Of course, guys, during the duration of the course, we're going to be more precise, of course, about how each of these criteria works. Okay, this is just an overall view of what the exam is about. And here we are just 2 slides away from finishing this presentation, which I say very quick, but I think it's important, of course, for everybody to know. How does the preparation work? Preparation is a process and not improvisation. All right, guys? So when we talk about the fact that it's a process, it's similar to this graphic right here on the right. Right, it's like a road that we need to go through in order to achieve a goal. So what it's going to be about is the step-by-step training, which we go through the course, right? It's about using official and up-to-date Cambridge material, focus on exam-specific skills, progressive practice, which means you guys are going to have a mock test at the end of each cycle, okay? Now, the mock test, guy, here in part number 4, is actually as important as the lessons. Why? Because we develop a step-by-step training, but you need to put into practice all this knowledge. If you do not practice with mock tests or real exams from Cambridge, it once again is going to be very difficult for you to know what to expect the day of the exam, right? So it's not just about having different types of exercises, but also to put all this knowledge into practice. I've seen that maybe some students want to practice more often, but the very first practice test, okay, that we're going to have once again is going to be at the end of each cycle. Finally, and not less important, I think, is the feedback. Okay, so guys, the feedback is when, for example, you do a writing task, you're going to get a feedback, okay, according to the Cambridge criteria. The same is going to be for the speaking, and the same is going to be for the reading and use of English and the listening part. So when you receive your feedback, you're going to be able to understand what are those points where you need to work maybe a little bit harder, and what are those areas where you actually have achieved, right, somehow a very safe area, right, that you can feel a little bit more relief about. So getting your feedback is important once again, because you know which direction you are going and which areas are your strengths and which areas are your weaknesses, okay? And going now to, so I think it went back. Okay, the last part, guys, and this is about the common mistakes that candidates make, okay? Now, one of the first most common mistakes is about the task, which is practicing without understanding the task, okay? This is quite simple. Each task from Cambridge requires you to develop a different part of your skills, okay? So if you do not understand exactly what the task is about, it's going to be difficult for you to actually develop this area, or to get to know how to do this exercise, okay? So once again, practicing without understanding the task is one of the most common mistakes that candidates make. The writing, of course, is going to be ignoring the writing correction. Guys, every time you're going to receive your writing feedback, I'm going to encourage you all to please read everything that is on the correction and the feedback from your teacher, because in that way, you know how to improve, okay? Then for the speaking part is one of the mistakes is that just treating this as a regular conversation. Maybe one part of the exam, which is part number 3, is about a conversation, but it's not just about talking as itself, okay? There is a structure, once again, that I mentioned before, that we need to follow. And it's important then to understand the task, and it's connected to the first one, right? And know exactly what we need to do, what we need to speak about. Finally, the grammar. A lot of times, also students think that in order to prepare for a Cambridge exam, you only need to focus on the grammar. And that's not going to be true. Focusing on the grammar is going to help us a lot, of course, especially for the use of English. But of course, there are another areas that we need to develop in order to success and to achieve our goal, which is getting that certification, okay? And well, there's a final phrase here that says skills are trained, not improvised. All right, guys? So what really matters is that Cambridge preparation is not about perfection. It's about strategy, structure, and consistency. And this, for me, guys, is the most important: consistency. Why? Because if you have already committed to start this course, I hope that most of you at least commit to continue, because it's about consistency. It's a road, okay? And it's not going to happen from one night to the next day. You need to commit to your course. You need to give a lot of practice to it. You need to pretty much stay true to yourself from the very beginning of this course until you feel that you are prepared to sit the exam. Okay, so perfect, guys. So I know you might have questions. Okay, so if anybody has a question right now, I will be more than happy to answer this question. So, guys, has anybody got any question? No questions. Okay. That sounds good, guys. So now let's get to business, okay? Let me just stop this presentation. And also at the same time, I would like to take a picture of all the brave ones who are starting this course, okay? So guys, put your best face, your best smile, okay, for this picture. And when I say three, everybody's going to say cheese, okay? So you can be ready, okay? I see some people already smiling. All right, very good. So guys, 1, 2, and 3. Give me your best smile. Cheese. Very good. Okay, perfect. I like to see those smiles. All right, now once again, as I said from the beginning, let's get to business, all right? And for these guys, actually the material, right, is a link to the Google Classroom. I hope that everybody already entered the Google Classroom and could download the material. If you print it, it's even better. That's my personal recommendation. And this type of person that prefer to have something printed, right? So in that way, I actually avoid looking at the screen the whole time because it can be a little bit tiring. But if you prefer having it on the PDF also, just make sure that you have access to this PDF during the lesson, okay? Whether it's in your laptop, in your phone, or your tablet, please have the material with you, okay? So the very first topic, guys, and this is how we're going to develop this course, is through topics. It's family affair, okay? Now, we have, of course, four different pictures here about aspects, right, that we see in families. You know that every family is different. And what are we going to do now is we're going to discuss first these questions, and you guys are going to do it in pairs, okay? So we are going to be answering these questions here. And one of you is going to help me to read the questions. All right. So let me see. Emilio, since I can't see you very well, Emilio, can you please help us to read the questions here on page number 8?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So all of them?
Yes, please. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what aspects of family life does each of the photos show? What
Mm-hmm.
might the people in the pictures be saying or thinking? How are each of these aspects of family life important? Yeah. How important is it for families to spend time together? Why? Imagine
Mm-hmm.
photo of your own family life and describe it to your partner.
Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. Mm-hmm. Very good. Thank you, Emilio. That is correct. Okay, so guys, as the instruction says, we are going to be working this in pairs. Okay, so together with a partner, you're going to be answering 5 of these questions, and all of them are connected to the pictures that are on page number 8. So this is once again why it's important for everybody to have their material, right? So when you go to the breakout room and you discuss with your partner, you have this material, and also you have the list of questions, okay? So we're going to start with that, guys, so you get to know each other as well. And before, guys, I send you to the breakout rooms, has anyone got any questions? Are the instructions clear on what you have to do? Any doubts? Any recommendation, any advices? No, right? Okay, so perfect, guys. You're gonna get around 4 minutes on the breakout rooms to discuss together with your partner the 5 of these questions. Okay, so please, everybody, accept now the invitation to the breakout room. Oh, so please, let's accept the invitation. Raquel, yes. So Raquel, if you could accept the invitation, yes, that's very good. I think we have everybody on board. Hi, Myra. Sorry. Myra, can you hear me well? Yes,
Yes,
so yes,
sorry, I'm
I
sorry. I have
think you got
problem with my
disconnected, right?
yeah, I have problem with
Okay.
my connection.
Yes, sorry about that. So the guys are just about to finish because they're all in the breakout rooms discussing the first part of the I think it's just about 1 more minute, okay? So I don't want to put you in one of the breakout rooms because they're just finishing with the discussions and they're just going to be back in 1 more minute, okay? So let's
Okay,
just
no
wait.
problem.
Okay, so just meanwhile, the questions that they're discussing, I don't know if you got to hear that part. It's a part number 8, okay, page number 8, sorry, and is these questions right here. Okay, so if you want to also take a look into the questions to get familiar with this part, all right? I'm gonna be back in a moment just to finish with the last group. Okay, 1 second. I'll be
Okay,
back.
thank you.
Okay. Perfect, guys. So welcome back, everyone. I think maybe the time wasn't enough, right, to go through the 5 of the questions, but I think you got to answer most of them. I think all the way to number 3 or number 4, right? Okay. So, guys, this was pretty much a warm up because once again, the topic that we are going to be discussing on this unit is family affair. Okay. And now, guys, let's focus on the first part, which is the listening part 1. Now, there is exam information that we need to bear in mind before we work on this exercise. Okay. So, Carla, please, could you help me reading the exam information for listening part 1?
Okay. In listening part 1, you listen to people talking in 8 different situations, which may be either conversations between people or just one person speaking. You answer one question for each situation by choosing A, B, or C. This part tests your ability to understand a variety of things, including the general idea being expressed, a detail, a reason, or a purpose.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Carl. Okay, so this is once again, guys, general information that we need to be aware of about the listening part 1. Okay, so 8 different situations, right, in which you need to answer, giving only, of course, one correct answer on from between 3 different options. So now what we do here, all right, you will hear people talking in 8 different situations, but before you listen, you have to read the questions from 1 to 8 and underline the main ideas in each. The first one has been done for you. Okay. So, guys, when it comes to the listening part, okay, the listening part 1, you are going to be given around 1 minute only. Now, of course, we just started this course. We're gonna have more than 1 minute to get to understand what is the main idea. It's important to understand what is the main idea and what is the question being asked. Okay, let's focus on number 1, which is used as an example. Number 1 says, you hear a woman talking to her brother about an old family photo. What is she doing? Okay, so what has been underlined in this question is old family photo. Why? Because the whole situation is going to be about an old family photo. Now, but what is the question? It says, what is she doing? And guys, here it comes something very important. A lot of times students understand what is the situation about, but they forget about the question. Okay, this is actually a very good example because it says that you're gonna hear 2 people talking, right? You have a woman and you have her brother. And in between the options A, B, and C, maybe one of the options is going to be about what her brother is doing. And if you forget what the question is, maybe you're going to answer about what is he doing and not what is she doing. Okay, so guys, once again, it's important to understand the situation, but you also have to remember what is the question that you need to answer. And this is what misleads a lot of students towards the correct answer. Okay, another advice that I would like to give you from the very beginning, guys, is that you always must listen until the audio is over. Okay, why? Because maybe in one part of the audio is going to say something like complaining. Okay, they're going to use the word complain maybe, and you're like, oh, letter C says complaining, so this must be the correct answer. But what happened? You actually did not hear the audio all the way till the end, and this is when the mistake happens. Okay, so once again, you first of all, you're going to underline what is the main idea for from number 2 to number 8. During the audio, you have to remember what is the question being asked, because in a lot of these audios, there is going to be more than one person. And you need to understand if the question is about a woman, about a man, or maybe sometimes it's about both of them. Okay, so you need to be aware of that. And finally, guys, always remember to listen all the way till the end before you answer to the question. Okay, so first step, underline the main idea. So guys, I'm going to be giving you all about 2 minutes for you to read the question. Once again, guys, focus only on the questions. At this point, the options are not the most important thing. So imagine that this exercise is something like this, okay? Just a question, just a question, just a question. Do not get distracted by the options yet. The focus of this first exercise is for you to understand what is the main idea of each situation or each question. Okay, so is this clear, guys? Have you got any questions on what you have to do? No questions? Okay, so perfect, guys. So please continue now following example number 1, in which has been underlined, I think, like 4 different words. You also need to do the same from number 2 to number 8. Okay, be aware that that the questions are in between page 8 and 9. All right, so please go ahead. 2 minutes, everybody. All right, guys, let's compare your answers. Okay, so for number 2, it says, you hear a man talking to a woman about the sale of his family home. What upsets him about his parents' decision? Leslie, can you tell me, please, which are the words that you have underlined that you consider are the main idea? Well, is the main idea of this question?
In the second one, right?
Yes, number 2.
I underlined the sale of his family home and what.
And also what? I think in this case, guys, it would be better if we understand what upsets him, all right? Because maybe they're going to mention different things or different feelings. But what we need to know exactly is what is that makes him angry, all right? What upsets him? Okay, very good. Thank you, Leslie. Now for number 3, it says, you hear a woman talking about her childhood. The woman remembers her bedtime routine as one second. See, Valerie, can you tell me, please, which is the information that you have underlined in question number 3?
Talking about her childhood or her
Okay, her childhood. Okay, anything else?
Yes, bedtime routine as.
Okay, very good. That's right. Okay, so this is about her childhood and pretty much is telling you, right, the woman remembers her bedtime routine as, right? And it's probably a description, right? So this is why these 2 different parts of the question are the main ideas. Okay, so please, I know that everybody's following. Okay, so this is pretty much how we should do it also during the exam. But once again, during the exam, you only have 1 minute to do this. So we're getting to practice. Now, let's go to question number 4. Okay, so for question number 4, hold on, just scroll up first. It says, you hear a woman talking about her experience of working from home. What does she feel about it? Matt, can you tell me, please, what have you underlined here as the main idea?
Yes, I underlined her experience of working from home. And the main question is, how does she feel about it?
Very good. We can say like feel or feel about it, right? That would be the main idea. Perfect. Well done. Now, number 5, you hear a journalist talking about an article he has written on family life. What point is he making about the article? Gretel, what have you underlined here on number 5?
Well, for number 5, I underline family life. What point is he making?
What point is he making? Very good. One additional word here, though, I will also highlight or underline will be article, okay? Because the focus of that particular situation is the article and family life, because the article is about this particular topic, right? So that it is number 5. Now, number 6, you hear a woman talking to her father about her new job. What does the woman feel pleased about? Raquel, can you tell me, please, what have you underlined in number 6?
Yes. Her new job and feel pleased about.
Okay, her new job. Very good. And feel pleased about. Yes, that's perfect. Thank you. Number 7, you hear a part of a conversation about buying presents. The man is annoyed because. Rodrigo, can you tell me, please, what have you underlined here? Number 7?
Sure. In number 7, I underline buying presents.
Okay.
And is annoyed because.
Okay, very good. So we want to know the reason, right? Why the man is annoyed. Perfect. Thank you, Rodrigo. And the last one, number 8, you hear 2 friends talking about the presentation they've just attended. What do they agree about the presenter? Mayra, what have you underlined on this question?
On number 8, I underline presentation, they just attend, agree about.
They agree about. Perfect. Thank you, Maiden. And guys, I think question number 8 is actually a very good example. Why? Because on most of the questions from 1 to 7, the question was about one of the person, right? About the man, about the woman, etc. But actually, question number 8 is what do they agree about? Which means in this case is the opinion from both of the speakers. And I'm gonna give this friendly reminder for everybody. During the listening part that we're gonna do just in a moment, okay? We're gonna listen to it twice, okay? So always wait till the audio is over before you make a decision on what you believe is the correct answer. Another extra recommendation, guys, that I can give you from my own experience, okay, is that the first time you listen to the audio, don't focus much about finding the answer. I know this might sound odd. Why not? Okay. Why? Because the first time is actually useful, and this is an advantage from Cambridge because in other international exams like IELTS or TOEFL, you only listen to the audio once. So you have no option than to listen and to choose your answer, right? But Cambridge gives you this advantage to listen to the audio twice. So the first time, focus on understanding the situation, what it's about, okay? Not trying to choose A, B, or C. Why? Because a lot of times students get distracted while trying to choose one of the options. It's better if you listen the first time, you understand the situation. It's like when you watch a TV series or you watch a movie, right? If you are focused on the questions that you might be asked about the movie or the TV series, then you're not going to be focusing on the plot. So when you watch, it's the natural thing, right? When you watch any TV program, what is going to happen? You're going to focus on the meaning of it, not on questions, okay? So guys, that is my personal recommendation. The first time, just listen to the audio, okay, carefully. And if there is a word that you do not understand, let it go, okay? Because it's going to happen. There are going to be words that maybe we're not going to be able to understand, but if we get stuck there and we do not pay attention to the rest of the audio, then you're not going to get, of course, the correct answer. And only the second time, guys, when you already understood what the situation is about, then you focus on choosing one of the options. Okay, so that is my recommendation. And now, guys, I'm going to be playing the audio for you. So please tell me, has anyone got any questions before I play the audios? I think I see one question from Emilia, right? Um, how do I listen to the listening part 1? I think I just explained, right? What is the order that we should follow in order to listen part 1? And remember, once again, the audio is going to be played twice. Okay, so without further questions then, guys, I'm going to be playing the audio, okay? And guys, after I finish playing the audio twice, please, everybody is going to send their answers on the chat from number 1 to number 8, okay? So you can write it on your notebook first, of course, and then type it on the chat. But once again, everybody must send their answers on the chat. Okay, so now let me open the audio. So everyone, attention. Hold on one second. I think my application has been open for a while. And my audio. Okay, hold on one second, guys. This has happened before. When the application has been open for too long, the audio just suddenly stops working. So let me just restart it. It's going to take about 30 seconds while everyone gets ready for the audio, of course. Okay, just give me a couple of seconds to fix this. So it's opening again. Okay. Perfect. So sorry about that, guys. It should be fine now. Okay.
Track 2, Unit 1, page 9. Listening Part 1. Exercise 2. 1. You hear a woman talking to her brother about an old family photo.
Hey, look what I just found.
No way! When was that taken?
About 15 years ago, I reckon. You haven't changed a bit.
Very funny. I can't believe our parents made us wear matching jumpers. We look ridiculous.
Oh, it's not that bad. It does help us to look more like brother and sister, I suppose, which is probably why they did it.
You're right about that.
It would be so much better if you weren't sticking your tongue out, though.
Yeah, I remember Mum and Dad not being too pleased about that.
2. You hear a man talking to a woman about the sale of his family home.
So I heard your parents are selling the house.
Yeah, they're downsizing. I'd already cleared out my old room and moved everything to my flat, so I doubt I'll get sentimental about that. The one thing I might shed a tear over is the door frame of the kitchen. Our parents used to mark our heights on it every 6 months, and it's quite sweet. I guess I'll just have to take a picture. My sister, on the other hand, is fairly upset about the location of the new house. It's only a 1-hour drive to the city, but it does make it trickier to hang out with her friends who live there.
3. You hear a woman talking about her childhood.
The fondest memory I have of my childhood is playing football with my dad every evening before bed. Normally, children get bedtime stories, but not me. My dad would grab a worn-out football made of foam and play with me in the tiny hall of the flat. We'd carry on playing for ages. I can't begin to tell you how many vases and other fragile objects we managed to break. It used to drive my mum mad. It was extremely effective, though. I was exhausted after playing and I slept like a log. I guess I did get stories every now and again, but for some reason I found them more annoying than anything else.
4. You hear a woman talking about her experience of working from home.
I've been working from home for just over 2 weeks now. I certainly don't miss having to commute for 2 hours every day, waking up early to catch my train, that sort of thing. I thought I'd be more easily distracted than working in the office, but amazingly, my productivity has actually gone up. I'm conscious of the fact I'm spending more time on my own, though, so I've organised daily virtual coffee breaks with people in the office, just to keep in touch, which has worked out really well.
5. You hear a journalist talking about an article he has written on family life.
So my article on family life has been out in the public domain for about a week now. I didn't know if anyone would even read it at first, but it seems to have caused quite a stir online. Hardly surprising, I suppose, given the subject matter. Quite a few people have got in touch to say how helpful they found it, which is what I was counting on really, because a lot of the insights I gained into family life were based on other people's accounts rather than my own.
6. You hear a woman talking to her father about her new job.
So, how's the new job?
I can't believe it's been 3 months already. The hours are long, but that's to be expected, really, as we're working on some really important projects at the moment.
How are you getting on with your new colleagues?
They've been really supportive and have helped me get to grips with the new systems and processes. I couldn't have hoped for a nicer atmosphere in the office either. I just hope I'll get the chance to book some time off for a holiday when the work starts to settle down. I'll have definitely earned it by then.
7. You hear part of a conversation about buying presents.
I'm so stressed out about having to buy all these presents. My family is way too big, and it's such a hassle every year.
Tell me about it.
I guess I've made some progress, but I'm still nowhere near done. The most irritating bit is having to get stuff for relatives who might not even be there. There are a few people in my family who think it's hilarious to say they're not coming, then turn up for lunch and go, "Surprise!" They've caught me off guard a few times, so now I have to have a few extra presents just in case to avoid it turning into an embarrassing situation.
8. You hear two friends talking about a presentation they've just attended.
What did you think about the presentation today, Sam? The presenter was good, wasn't he?
Absolutely. The data he presented was so surprising. I thought he was making it up at first. I struggled to keep up with the more complex arguments, though. They could have been clearer.
Yeah, a lot of people have said the same. I personally thought he was quite easy to follow. And he was so passionate about the topic. You could see how interested everyone was.
I couldn't agree more. It's just a shame he ran out of time at the end. I had so many questions to ask him.
That's true. We can always email him, I guess.
Okay, now we'll listen one more time.
Track 2, Unit 1, page 9. Listening Part 1. Exercise 2. 1. You hear a woman talking to her brother about an old family photo.
Hey, look what I just found.
No way! When was that taken?
About 15 years ago, I reckon. You haven't changed a bit.
Very funny. I can't believe our parents made us wear matching jumpers. We look ridiculous.
Oh, it's not that bad. It does help us to look more like brother and sister, I suppose, which is probably why they did it.
You're right about that.
It would be so much better if you weren't sticking your tongue out, though.
Yeah, I remember Mum and Dad not being too pleased about that.
2. You hear a man talking to a woman about the sale of his family home.
So I heard your parents are selling the house.
Yeah, they're downsizing. I'd already cleared out my old room and moved everything to my flat, so I doubt I'll get sentimental about that. The one thing I might shed a tear over is the door frame of the kitchen. Our parents used to mark our heights on it every 6 months, and it's quite sweet. I guess I'll just have to take a picture. My sister, on the other hand, is fairly upset about the location of the new house. It's only a 1-hour drive to the city, but it does make it trickier to hang out with her friends who live there.
3. You hear a woman talking about her childhood.
The fondest memory I have of my childhood is playing football with my dad every evening before bed. Normally, children get bedtime stories, but not me. My dad would grab a worn-out football made of foam and play with me in the tiny hall of the flat. We'd carry on playing for ages. I can't begin to tell you how many vases and other fragile objects we managed to break. It used to drive my mum mad. It was extremely effective, though. I was exhausted after playing and I slept like a log. I guess I did get stories every now and again, but for some reason I found them more annoying than anything else.
4. You hear a woman talking about her experience of working from home.
I've been working from home for just over 2 weeks now. I certainly don't miss having to commute for 2 hours every day, waking up early to catch my train, that sort of thing. I thought I'd be more easily distracted than working in the office, but amazingly, my productivity has actually gone up. I'm conscious of the fact I'm spending more time on my own, though, so I've organised daily virtual coffee breaks with people in the office, just to keep in touch, which has worked out really well.
5. You hear a journalist talking about an article he has written on family life.
So my article on family life has been out in the public domain for about a week now. I didn't know if anyone would even read it at first, but it seems to have caused quite a stir online. Hardly surprising, I suppose, given the subject matter. Quite a few people have got in touch to say how helpful they found it, which is what I was counting on really, because a lot of the insights I gained into family life were based on other people's accounts rather than my own.
6. You hear a woman talking to her father about her new job.
So, how's the new job?
I can't believe it's been 3 months already. The hours are long, but that's to be expected, really, as we're working on some really important projects at the moment.
How are you getting on with your new colleagues?
They've been really supportive and have helped me get to grips with the new systems and processes. I couldn't have hoped for a nicer atmosphere in the office either. I just hope I'll get the chance to book some time off for a holiday when the work starts to settle down. I'll have definitely earned it by then.
7. You hear part of a conversation about buying presents.
I'm so stressed out about having to buy all these presents. My family is way too big, and it's such a hassle every year.
Tell me about it.
I guess I've made some progress, but I'm still nowhere near done. The most irritating bit is having to get stuff for relatives who might not even be there. There are a few people in my family who think it's hilarious to say they're not coming, then turn up for lunch and go, "Surprise!" Oh, they've caught me off guard a few times, so now I have to have a few extra presents just in case to avoid it turning into an embarrassing situation.
8. You hear two friends talking about a presentation they've just attended.
What did you think about the presentation today, Sam? The presenter was good, wasn't he?
Absolutely. The data he presented was so surprising. I thought he was making it up at first. I struggled to keep up with the more complex arguments, though. They could have been clearer.
Yeah, a lot of people have said the same. I personally thought he was quite easy to follow. And he was so passionate about the topic. You could see how interested everyone was.
I couldn't agree more. It's just a shame he ran out of time at the end. I had so many questions to ask him.
That's true. We can always email him, I guess.
Okay, guys, so because of time, all right, please keep the answers, all right, on your notebook or where you wrote it. And the next lesson, we're actually going to start by comparing the answers. So once again, it's not necessary for you to write the answers on the chat. We're going to do that on the beginning of our next lesson, okay? So please make sure that you have all the answers from number 1 to number 8. So we're going to be able to start the lesson by comparing those answers. All right, so perfect. I'm sorry that I took a little bit more of your time. Guys, please tell me, are there any questions before we finish today's lesson? No questions? Okay. It seems like everything is clear. All right, so thank you everybody for joining today. I will see you all back on Wednesday. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a nice evening. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.